What's going on, people? Once again, this is another edition of the American Hustler Podcast. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and at this point in my life, I listen to people differently than I used to. And it made me come up with the concept for this podcast: how your vision of success keeps you broke. How your vision of success keeps you broke. What do I mean by that? You're going, gee, Glenda and I have a vision for success. That's a great thing. Not necessarily. Let me break it down for you so it's forever broken. If your vision of success has the accumulants of things that really do not make your heart beat with joy, it can actually prevent the success you claim that you want. Success is a byproduct of helping other people. I have seen vision boards that had no other people in it. I've seen all kinds of stuff. If your vision of success is a big house, a fancy car, wonderful trips around the world, and there are no other people in it, you might have some problems. Because the real problem with having a janky vision of success is you're looking at what you want. And what you want is based on and often predicated on what other people feel that you should have if you reach a certain income level, a certain lifestyle. And that is simply not the truth. It's not even close to the truth. The deal is, if you want to be successful, you must make sure that your vision for success is in direct agreement with your core values. There are people who have big houses and that's not part of their core value, and they're miserable. They have rooms that they don't even go in because they are living someone else's vision of success. When you make the conscious choice to live a life of design, one is of conception versus one of happenstance, you start to develop a certain filter. And the filter is a wonderful thing, because one thing I've noticed, and I live in a pretty well-to-do neighborhood, and I've noticed that there are some folks who never converted their house. A lot of houses around here were built in the 50s to 60s, and I see people who live in this neighborhood who drive older cars, who essentially have decided to put their money elsewhere. They're living a life of design. They're not living a life of happenstance or, since I am doing X, Y, and Z, I should be living to the B, to the A, to the C. That's not necessarily the case, because often you allow other people's vision of success define your vision of success. And once again, if it's not clicking with that core value, and if you haven't explored your core values and you really don't know what they are, you could be living this life that's this big facade. You look great, you look wonderful, your friends are like, God, I want that life. And you go home and cry yourself to sleep because there's no one there. There are people who are living like that. Now, another way how your vision of success could keep you broke is totally unrealistic. You want to, let's give you an example. Say you're 56 years old, you're a woman, and you want to meet some fine, financially stable, with mobile sperm dude, get pregnant and have kids. It is scientifically possible, but the chances of it being likely are slim to none. It's also like the person who buys lottery tickets all the time because they know they gonna hit because they God's child. God loves me. I gotta play 784692 because that's Pookie's birthday and my father's birthday and the guy that I slept with, but he made me come for the first time. And that happened on that date. And I'm gonna play those numbers because they gonna hit. I have heard such insane, insipid bullshit. When you build your visions of success on false steps, there's no wonder when you run up them, you crash and burn. Now, part of having an accurate vision of success is knowing who you are, knowing what makes you tick, knowing what really makes you get up in the morning with a smile on your face, ready to take on the day. You got to know that stuff before you build your vision of success, because if you don't, you're using the tools, the pictures, and the dreams of others. You might be hijacking someone else's vision of success because you're too damn lazy to create your own. Well, that's good enough for me because it's good enough for Tim. Yet Tim defined his vision of success and he's happy as a pig with a mouthful of peaches. You have hijacked Tim's vision of success and you're miserable because you stole it. It's not yours. You didn't earn it. You didn't build it. You didn't make it happen. You just, it looks good. Hey, yeah, it looks good. And he's got that hot wife. Yeah, I want that. I want that. I want that. You might be the person that might be happy in a cabin in the woods with like 2 wives and 16 kids running the farm. I'm not joking. Okay, I'm joking. But you know where I'm going with this. You have to define your vision of success on your terms based on your core values, because if you do not, you are going to run into what's called a software and hardware incompatibility, which we also call a crash. If your internal core values do not mesh up well with what you're externally trying to obtain, you will not have it. If you have it, you will be sad and miserable. And if your sadness and miserable gets to a certain point, you'll get rid of it either by choice or you'll do something to fuck it up. This is how you see people who purportedly have it all and they're on drugs and they're drinking and they're doing all these self-defeating behaviors because they are living a life that is out of alignment. Another way that your vision of success can jack up your life is if you really don't give a shit about you. You are doing things for the amazement, the adulation, and the that a boy, that's a good girl of other people, versus seriously doing the hard work of figuring out what's your thing or things. What makes you tick? What is really, really going to fill up your hope balloon and sail off into the sunset? What's going to do that for you? Because everyone's got a different dream. Everyone has a different set of skill sets, gifts, and personality attributes. There are too many people who are trying to follow someone who's following someone who's following someone. And this was in Earl Nightingale's course, Lead the Field. It's called Follow the Follower Who's Following the Follower. If they were actually following the leader, that wouldn't be so bad. So when you're sitting around thinking about what success is, you have to ask yourself, and I will give you a really, really good example. There's this thing I get on Facebook. It's called Thought Catalog. And there was this woman who was 26 years old who was married, and she had all kinds of, I feel this kind of way about being pregnant at 26, because if I'm pregnant at 26, I am possibly not living up to my potential. I don't know when it happened, but for some reason today, Women who choose to have kids at an early age and forego career attainment, chasing money, are looked down upon. Now, this is my thoughts. The raising of a child, the ability to have a child, is one of the most precious gifts that has been downgraded, downplayed, and bastardized in other people's vision of success. I know a bunch of women who have said, I don't want any kids. And there are some who are speaking the truth, but I think in many cases, when they get 50, 60, and they look back, there's going to be a mouth of regret on that. A big mouth of regret. But that's to just show you the power of living someone else's vision of success. Because the way our society is set up, when you go outside of the boundaries of what's socially acceptable or what's looked upon as good, common, decent, or proper decisions to make, you're called an idiot. I don't believe that. She's 26 years old. She got a husband. They make good money. And she want to throw away her life having a kid? Poopy diapers? Ugh. She should be traveling the world. She should be scaling Mount Everest. She should be possibly trying to get in a graduate program and maybe get into NASA and go into orbit. This is the kind of nonsense that happens when you choose other people's vision of success. You start self-doubting your own natural desires that are coming from your core. You start going, I don't know. I don't know about that now. Because Becky and Sue and Jill and Margaret all said that they're not having kids right now because they have so much to do career-wise. This is what happens. Oh, dudes, don't think you're immune. All of you dudes who are like, thinking, who are worshiping at the altar of 2 Chainz, the 35, 6, 7, however old he is. I'm going to be a rapper. I'm going to be a football star. I'm going to be a basketball star. I'm not going to school. I'm not going to learn a trade. I'm not going to stuff my mind full of knowledge that can make me money. No, because the vision of success for a black male is being a ball player, being a rapper, or being some type of nightclub, stripper club, hustler, shady figure that rides away in the night in his Bentley with the 16-year-old in the passenger seat. Those are other people's versions of success. There are so many things that you can do if you get on the path of self-discovery and exploration. These things that you can find out about yourself. These things that you can do and become. But when you adopt other people's visions of success, you're robbing yourself of some of the most powerful gifts you have. Because your gifts are not designed to be used for other people's visions of success. They're not. That's why you're where you are. That's why things are going the way that they're going. And you just can't seem to understand, how do I get out of this place? I'm going to tell you. You stop doing what you're doing. Take a deep breath and start to think. Start to ask yourself, what makes you happy? You know what makes me happy? Not having to deal with traffic. I have road rage like you wouldn't believe. I become that guy behind the wheel. Knowing this about myself, I designed a life where I don't have to deal with traffic for the most part. Now when I get into it, because it's so rare, I can contain the raging beast within inside. I haven't flipped off anybody. I haven't really even honked at anybody until the other day because this lady was texting in front of me and I was like, don't you make me miss this light, Miss Daisy. So you got to think, what makes you happy? What makes you happy? What fills up your happy tank? And if it's not something that is socially widespread and socially desirable, so fucking what? Have the courage to be yourself. I have a saying. One of the hardest things in life to do is to have the courage to be yourself. And many people are just not that brave. Think about it. Everybody's not chasing money. Everyone's not chasing fame. Think about what really makes you happy. I'm not saying be boo boo the fool and don't make any money and go find you a mud hut and patch it up with some straw like the little piggies did. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if you tap into your gifts, you work on the things that you can do well, and then you share that with other people, you may have more money than you'll ever need in your life because you're working on your vision of success, not this other fabricated, contrived, commercially packaged ideal of what success should be. You can do it. You can have that life. You can create those aspects for yourself if you know yourself. Many people believe happiness is something that comes from external sources. Happiness is an internally generated situation. It's an inside job. You have to make yourself happy. And then you can share your happiness with other people. But if you're dependent on other people to make you happy, you are a slave to the whims of other people. You're a slave to you've entrusted your joy to someone else. And how can you be pissed off if they mishandle it? Because you mishandle it. You're tossing it around like it's a hot potato. Well, I don't want it. You take it. No, I don't want it. You take it. No, I don't want it. Take my happiness. Do something with it. And then the happy machine breaks down and you're on Prozac, lithium, or some of that, or Alderol, or some of that stuff. And the reason I know these terms and names is I used to work in a hospital, so don't get it twisted. Don't be like, damn, Glendon popping pills. I knew it. In some of those videos, he looked a little zooted. No, not the case. Not the case. Actually, I don't even take medication unless it's absolutely necessary. But you see where I'm going with this. You see the points that I am trying to make to you. Your vision of success should be your vision of success. You should own it. You should really take it apart, look at it, and examine it. Because once you tap into your thing, you start stroking it in the way that it's supposed to be stroked, you will find yourself happy all the time. Now, there's a few caveats to this. If the thing that makes you happy is problematic, because let's give you an example, and this happened to one of my clients who comes from an educated family. When I say that great granddad was a doctor, family full of doctors, lawyers, accountants, it's not a question of if you're going to school, it's a question of what school are you going to. So she did all that and she hated it. She hated her job, had a 6-figure job, CPA, couldn't stand it. And what she wanted to do was interior decorate. There are no interior decorators in the family. They're all professionals. So we're talking because she found me on YouTube and she bought a consultation and she's like, I want to do the interior design and you talked about furniture. And I was like, well, yeah, I can help you with that. Now, understand, there are some people, unless you have that certain, the American Interior, I forget the acronym, but unless you have accreditation, some people are just not going to mess with you. So to get around with that, you got to pop out your blazing ass designs. You really got to put something out there. And she sends me a picture of her house and everything, and it's hooked. I mean, she definitely has an eye for her pieces and she knows how to put colors and stuff together very well. So she's got that critical skill. The problem is she was able to go out and get clients and she was making money, but she wasn't making what she used to make. And her father was in her ass. He even told him, Hendersons are educated people. What's up with this interior design bullshit? And she said, it hurt her because this is her dad who's normally like, yay, I'm proud of you. And he's saying bullshit on the interior design stuff. And I was like, does it make you happy? And she said, I haven't been this happy ever in my life. I love what I do. I work hard. I help beautify spaces. I'm working with people. So what I did was work with her on the marketing aspect, because interior designers who know what they're doing and have a good client base can make a grip. Because you got, and I had to help her. I said, okay, go. Now, she was in CPS. Okay. Now, if you were advising yourself, and this was one of the funnest consultations in my life, if you were advising yourself, what would you tell yourself about your business? And then she went in CPA mode, and she's like, well, first thing, I would go to higher. And she started, it was just like, oh, damn. She knew what to do. It's just when she got out of her element, she lost all her skills. And I just had to pick them off the floor and stuff them back in her head. And I said, okay, no, go with it. You're going to get higher price point clients. You're only going to market to a certain demographic. And, we just started having this conversation. And then, the fact that she had the accounting skills helped her tremendously, because a lot of people go into business and have no clue. So she changed her focus. She started working with different clients, and she exceeded. Now, this is from last year. And this year, she's exceeded her CPA income. And she's got 2 assistants working with her. And the girl didn't go to design school, but she knows what she's doing. And I told her, let people know you're a CPA. And she's like, why? And I was like, well, if business gets slow, you can always, and that was something she was a little resistant to. I was like, if business gets slow, you can always do that on the side from home, and just say, hey, I'm only going to devote 20 hours to this. And, she got that set up, and she's got a few clients, and she's like, that kind of covers my health insurance. And it's like I can reinvest the money back in the business. But she's going through hell with her family, especially the dad. She said her brothers have come around, sisters come around. She's like, her mother and her are actually closer because she was working this job. She didn't really have a lot of time for her mother. Now she could take her mother on shopping excursions. She said their relationship is just like better than ever. But dad is still being like, we're Hendersons and we don't do that bullshit. And I was like, well, this is your choice. You can make yourself happy or you can make your father happy. Pick one. And she said, it has to be like that. I was like, it doesn't have to be like that. It's like that. And that's the way it is. And she messed me up because it was a little white girl. And she's like, oh yeah, I like Run DMC too. It was a moment. If you weren't there, you wouldn't get it. But anyway, I was like, that's where it is. It's like either make your dad happy or make yourself happy. And she's like, I'm happy and I'm going to keep doing this. I was like, well, there you have your answer. So I think eventually at some point he will come around, because another thing that happens is she now has her own business and she's not in corporate America anymore. She is like dating and probably going to get married and pop out some kids. And at that point, dad going to be like, oh, well, yeah, he'll come around at that point. But the whole deal is you have to live that life and make those decisions. When you do this, there are going to be people who are not going to be happy with you. They're just not, because it's like, hey, you were messing with my vision of success for you. I had my vision of success for you, and you are monkeying around with the machinery. You are messing up the game plan because, see, when you were born, I thought you were going to do this, and I was going to do this, and then you did it, and now you have, like, escaped out of my vision of success for you. And people get irritated. They get mad about that stuff, as if you're supposed to live your life for others, and they didn't ask your permission for such an awesome request. So these are some of the things that you have to ask yourself. Living your life, chasing your vision of success may require you to do some crazy things that are going to disappoint some people. And it's not like you're disappointing them because you're like that mayor, like, yeah, I I smoke crack. What about it? What about it? Yeah, I'm about that life, baby. But I'm not an addict. No, I just smoked a little crack. Not a lot, just a little bit. Um, it's not like you're in the corner smoking crack. It's not like you are going destitute. You're just changing your life, and people are worried because you're making them reflect on their choices. Because when someone's judging you, they're also judging themselves. They're looking at their own life. They may not realize it, but that's where the judgment comes from. So you got that going on. And it's just your choice for your happiness and your vision of success. Your vision of success. I have found out that living your life for other people can be a very disappointing exploration into personal and emotional chaos. Just been my experience when I did it as a young person. I actually broke rank from that line of thinking around 25 because I was like, whoa, I don't like how this shirt feels. It's real tight and a little scratchy. So think about it. What do you want to do? What do you want to make yourself happy? Build a true vision of success using your core values and whatever gifts you may have and run with it. We live in a world that is so abundant right now, it's ridiculous. There's these little girls making these little rubber band bracelets and people. There's so many ways you can make money and have a life. There's so many ways. So many. It is crazy over the top possible right now. And it's just a matter of you having the immutable gall to have the courage to be yourself. You might be a gypsy. You might be a tattoo artist. You might be, I don't know, you might be whatever. And it'll make you happy. And when you lay down at night, you're fulfilled. And when you get up in the morning, it's none of that, oh shit, I gotta go into that job. Damn, where's my Prozac? Hey, you ever have a job that, I mean, every day it was like that commercial where the people were dragging themselves down the street? It was that type of deal. I had jobs like that. It was just like, ooh, one morning it was cold. It was like 4:30 in the morning. I didn't live too far, and I would get up like 4:30 and put my stuff on and go to work, and I was just like, I don't want to. I mean, it was just like a million bricks on me that I was like, I don't want to go. And I called in, and I was so happy. I was just like, yeah, I'm calling in. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm not sick. I'm being unethical as hell, but I'm happy. That's a horrible way to live when there are choices available to you. And I don't want to hear, oh, I got kids. Nah. Nah, you can still make these choices. It would be a little bit more tricky, but you can still make these choices. You can still live that life of design and purpose. You can still do it. There's no age limit. And that's another thing with some people. You know, because I'm 60. I can't go to school. I can't learn a new trade. Bullshit. I work out in the gym. There's this woman that's 65. I want to talk to her because there's something going on. She drives a Bentley. I know she's 65 because I saw her check in and they had the birth date when you put your card thing through and it just brings up the screen and it was turned the wrong way. So I saw her information. And I was just like, this chick in there lifting weights, talking, chatting it up. She parks her car in the 20-minute spot. I was just sitting there like, she looks good. She works out. I mean, she's in there really lifting weight. I mean, she ain't messing around. I've seen her move 30 pounds. I mean, come on, you 65? Come on now. She ain't playing. So don't even put in your head that limitation just because I am this age, then my life is over and I cannot move forward. Because once again, you're living someone else's vision of success that by a certain age, if you haven't accomplished Y, T, and V, that you're somehow worthless. That you don't deserve a second shot and you can't, no. That's living someone else's life of expectations for you. Throw that shit off, man. Throw that suit off. Get you a new suit. Get suited and booted with your dreams, your desires, your vision of success, what you conceive. Work on that. All right, this is Glenn and Cameron, and I will see you on the good side.
Fatality.